All right. Welcome back again, everybody. With us again is Glenn and Omer from Caffeinated Conspiracies. I am not even going to try to blow this over. We are literally recording these back to back on the same nights. Here it is. I guess my morning, your night. Welcome to the time zones. But previously, we talked about
sleep.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully you got some sleep. We're not getting much now. Actually, I'll be sleeping after we get done here. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I know, right? We're already started and we're done. Last week, or I guess earlier, we talked about the sleep experiment. We talked about the experiments that started with the dogs, just in general, going up to this point. And then we have the 5 poor souls that were locked in this room, getting pumped full of this gas that they're testing to keep people awake. Day 5, we have one guy that's running the length of this room. He's screaming bloody murder. They can hear and see him because the portholes and the hidden microphones in there. And there's cameras, I guess, hidden somewhere. I'm guessing in the ceiling. I'm not really sure. But then the second guy starts screaming. Then everybody loses their shit. Then it's radio silence. Nothing's going on. They're monitoring the oxygen. It looks like they're still alive. Maybe doing some workouts, but they're still alive. Or I guess they could be panicking, I guess, at that point. And then everything goes silent. They test everything, and then they decide we're going to pump in some fresh air. We're going to open the door. They put the announcement out, hey, this is on day 15, so halfway through the 30-day trial. And they're like, listen, we're going to open the door, get on your stomachs, do not move, or I'll shoot your ass, essentially. If you all cooperate, we will release one of you. And that's when they have the eerie. I'm going to go ahead and have Glenn do it because he did such an amazing job doing it last time.
I'm going to see if I can do this again.
All right. So the quote was, it's not like they were like, oh, we no longer want to be freed. It was,
we don't want to leave.
Oh, yeah. It was literally like, we no longer want to be free of this place. Turn the gas back on. We don't want this fresh air. And that's where we left off, is before they open the door. Again, I'm going to put a huge disclaimer in here because this shit gets gnarly. And if you've got at all a weak stomach, I suggest you do not listen and you just come back next week. As much as I would love your downloads, I'm so sorry. Just move along because I don't want you to at me because it's gross. But this is the part where I might struggle here. So we'll see how it goes. Let's just say I'm very thorough. You can say a lot of things about me, one of which is I'm thorough.
Only one will leave. Yeah.
But again, we have Glenn and Omer, and we're going to just kind of hop right in from where we left off. They go to open the door. Okay. So once inside, everybody was taken aback by the horror that lay in front of them. One of the participants was clearly deceased, while the other 4 were mangled in most cases, with some injuries being a result of self-mutilation. There were 5 days worth of rations left precisely where they started, and not so much as even being touched. So again, they were locked in here with this. They had enough rations to get through everything. Keep in mind, before we get into this, there is food on the table. They have food and water. They are not starving to death or anything. Now, from the looks of the poor departed soul that was already there, it appeared that at least some of the other prisoners had started giving in to cannibalistic tendencies. Not only that, but there was 4 inches of water covering the entirety of the floor. While investigating the cause of the flooding, they found chunks of the dead man's chest and thighs had been shoved into the drain, preventing it from draining properly. And I'm already like, ew.
Yeah, that's a bit gruesome. What must have been going through their head to pick which one of them is going to die? Okay.
I think one might have already. We don't know for sure if he didn't just die.
Good
and
point.
They just decided
Self-mutilation.
Yes. So we have all these people with these injuries. It looks like they've been mowing down on this guy, and there's perfectly good food and water on the table.
5 days of food and water on the table.
Yes. Plenty. Yeah, plenty
and how
there.
long into the experiment did they stop?
15 days.
They should have had another 15 days worth.
That
but they
is
still
true.
ate quite a chunk.
That is true, but they didn't eat all the food and then eat the guy. They stopped eating the food and ate the guy, or started eating the guy. What I thought was interesting was they took a piece of this guy's thigh and chest and shoved it into the drainage pipe at the bottom. And so then there's inches of water in the bottom of this.
Yeah. You've got to think, Noah, who's looked at this food on the table and gone, that looks all right, but you know what? Bob over there looks well tasty.
Yeah.
I'm having me a bit of Bob. Sack the French fries have brought us. I'm having a bit of Bob.
You know, like when you're hungry in a cartoon and you start hallucinating people like food, like
a giant chicken or something.
Yeah, ham hock.
Hey, that's what happened.
So what's funny is whenever I met my boyfriend, I thought he was exceptionally attractive. And what I would say is that's one crime I'd like to take a bite out of. Like the old like McGruff kind of thing. But then this chase takes it to a whole different level. Like what it is. Oh, that's just so gross. Now, in regards to the flooding in the room, though, it was unable to be determined what the ratio was between blood and water. So it wasn't just water on the floor. These people were bleeding. And even the breathing prisoners had portions of their flesh violently removed. From the bone-exposed fingertips, mangled surrounding tissue, and angle at which the injuries were inflicted, it was clear that most of the material was forcibly removed by their own accord.
Wow.
Yeah, so they've got nubby fingers, and they are just ripping their skin out.
Into a room of people that look like zombies, right?
Yes, exactly. Mine is they're still alive. Like there's only one dead dude so far.
So you've got these four guys.
The oxygen earlier had 5 living people, but we know now there was only 4. So what were they doing to expend more oxygen to make up for the 5th person?
And it wasn't just 5 people, it was 5 people doing strenuous activity.
Yeah.
Who's to say there wasn't...
The 4 of them were doing something more strenuous than strenuous activity.
The mass panic or something.
No, what would take...
What about the 6th man? Have you guys heard about the 6th man theory?
6th man?
Is it the 6th man? It's like a certain man where it's... I guess usually it's like the 3rd man or something. So you're like lost or whatever, and this person appears and like, helps you find your way out, and then you turn around, the person's gone. There's this theory where there's like a spirit that like will guide you or help you with something if you're stranded or alone and lost and all of that.
See, we've come across stuff like this in our show, especially when we did Robert Johnson. He's meant to have sold his soul to the devil, so he's gone to the crossroads to meet somebody.
Yes.
What's to say that there wasn't someone there with them to try and help them in such a way? That's actually, I like that. Sacrifice a bit of yourself for us to help you. So what they've done is started peeling the skin away. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, sacrifice, giving your pound of flesh.
In the locker. The devil showed up, and he's breathed for the 5th, as the 5th person.
Yes.
So the only way we can track the devil is oxygen consumption.
So there we go.
The 6th man.
Yeah, I am the 6th man.
So there you go. This episode's a conspiracy in itself.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I'm not entirely sure how, but all 4 of the men in some accounts were reported to have been disemboweled in some degree. So some of the abdominal organs below the rib cages were strewn about the room on these living people. And from the looks of it, the intestines were still functioning and housed the remnants of what had been somewhat digested, which is gross as hell. However, with the lack of missing rations, it was concluded that the substance traveling through the digestive tracts for all 4 remaining men was unexplainable. Living corpses was, in fact, pieces of their own flesh that they had turned into their sustenance. It was reported that in all cases, the heart, lung, and diaphragm of the remaining victims were still intact.
So the important parts were still there.
Yeah. Just stomach content. All
so
strewn about.
Their intestines, the stomach, probably kidneys, that kind of stuff. Anything below that diaphragm that's holding everything in was just kind of like strewed all over the floor, and you could tell that there was stuff in it. And the only thing that would have been left in there is like they were eating their own flesh.
Jeez.
I know, right?
I have a weird theory that one of them was sat there eating something and just watched it go around the room.
Ew.
That's their party trick. Do you want to see this I can do, right? I'm going to eat some of it. Watch you take a whole loop of the room, right?
They're setting up their intestines like a Hot Wheel track.
Sat next to each other.
They go around. Oh, that is so gross.
Gives a whole new meaning to the Subway slogan, eat fresh. Yeah. Oh, man.
It
That's
unbelievable. If it wasn't a hermetically sealed room, they would have died from some infection much earlier.
Yeah. Oh, this is so gross. Now, although intact, the flesh and tissue had been so badly mutilated that you could view the lung tissue through the gaping wounds that were in the exposed rib cage. So they were like ripping chunks out of their chest and everything. It was really gross. And if you already couldn't conclude on your own, all of the subjects suffer substantial psychosis.
Clearly, they've got no pain receptors left. They're not feeling any of this.
We don't know if they are or not.
Or they're enjoying the pain.
Yeah. That's a little excessive for me. I don't think I'd be ripping my guts through my belly button or something to like...
You'll change your mind after 15 days of no sleep.
Yeah, and then maybe they were... So, fun fact, I actually just talked about this on that other podcast that I was doing. When I was little, and I still do it sometimes, if I'm tired or anxious or both, I will pull my eyelashes out to keep myself awake.
See, when I was younger and I would get anxious, I'd actually chew the skin around my fingernail.
Me too. And rip it off.
And full on like bite down till I've ripped like chunks of my skin off my fingernails. Yeah. I mean, I don't do it that much. I still bite my nails, don't get me wrong, but I don't tend to go for the skin around my nails anymore. But at what point? I mean, I've never thought, you know what? That was quite tasty. I'm going to eat the rest of my finger. I'm going to start chowing down on. That looks a bit tasty. Like I say, because of the weight loss, there's not much left. But still, there's chunks of area where you think, actually, that if you cook that up quite nice, that might taste pretty good.
Yeah, fry it up. We were just talking about whether or not we would eat people on the Creep It Weird podcast that's getting ready to come out. And we were talking about, the joke is, if push comes to shove, I would eat a person.
I'd eat Omer. That's just because I've known him for years, though, so I don't feel bad.
Omer?
He's put me through so much over the years that I think...
It's fair. Like, I think I'd eat you too, but...
Yeah, exactly. It's just a friendship thing.
It's like, I love you. It's, I'd eat you too. I'd eat you. I'd eat you too.
He nearly burnt the house down with me in it once when we lived together many years ago. It's just payback. I've just been biding my time.
Oh, jeez.
I'm trying to pre-cook myself.
Yeah, you know.
Getting marinated, you just sit in the bathtub while the place around you's burning. You turn yourself into a stew.
Just chopping his own carrots in the bath. That will do.
Yep. What is it with us and like old-timey cartoon references?
I know, yeah, there's quite a lot.
I'm pretty sure Bugs Bunny did that at one point. He was like, carrots. Yeah.
So, with the ladle pouring it over the...
And he's got his little bathtub going, yes! Oh my gosh, I haven't thought about that in forever. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. All right. Even in their horrific states, the men fought fiercely to remain in the room that they had been forced into 15 days earlier. They had begun to beg for the gas to be turned back on to prevent them from slipping into a sleep state. The researchers and military assistants noticed upon retrieval that the men somehow exhibited an immense amount of strength. So even though they're falling apart, they've got guts spread everywhere. This is just really making me nauseous. And they're still like superhuman strength, essentially. So then, because of this, sedatives were administered in an attempt to alleviate some of the violence, but they appeared to remain alert and aggressive despite the large amounts given. The ones that were able to be sedated were reported to have died the moment they drifted off to sleep. So they hit them with this. The moment they pass out, they're dead. And go ahead.
Sorry, like I said, I did look up a few little bits. It does say here that they had 4 times the amount of sedatives that a normal human would have just to put them to sleep. But when the soldiers went in, this is the bit that's just got me, is, like you say, they've got superhuman strength. One of the Russian soldiers had their throat ripped out.
We'll get there. Right? We'll get there.
Oh, you've got that right. Okay, I'll leave it then. I won't say anymore. Cause I've just read that and I was like, whoa, this is gonna be good.
Okay, so
my current takeaway is staying awake for 15 days. I'll survive. Put to sleep, I'm dead. So sleeping is the enemy, not staying awake.
Good point.
Sleep what kills you.
Yeah, sleep is what gets you. You can stay up and go crazy and eat your own ass. Well, okay, that came out really funny. They very well could have ate their own ass. I don't know. I bet it tasted fantastic.
That would have been a sight to open the doors to. Just some guy full on reaching right round. And you just thought,
pull it up and
can we just shut this door and just leave it closed? Let's just board it up. Put a wall over it.
Never mind. Let's just close this back up and let's leave them in there. Fuck 30 days. We're gonna go for 50.
We'll give you 5 minutes and we're back, and we'll just let you finish off, and we'll. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me of a scary movie too. And I can help you. He's, excuse me, lady. I can do it myself. These little feet hanging above his head.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Funny that you should mention the military man, because in the struggle, one of the survivors ruptured their spleen. So the medical staff injected 10 times the normal human dose of morphine derivative that had no effect on this man. He ended up breaking an arm and the ribs of a doctor trying to sedate him. After he had bled out from the injuries, it was reported that his heart remained pumping for 2 solid minutes after he technically had died. And yeah, this caused there to be more air than blood in his vascular system. It was stated that for 3 minutes after his heart gave out, the patient called out more repeatedly, getting quieter and quieter until eventually it turned into silence.
15 days no sleep, gains superhuman strength, immune to probably most things. I'm liking the sound of this. This is a very winning thing. I could do with some superhuman strength. There's a lot of jobs around this house that need doing, like lifting up sofas and cleaning under them. If I could do that in one arm, I'm good. I can get the brush under.
Your intestines running around the floor, so you win some, lose some.
I've already lost appendix, so that's good. So I've got a bit more room.
You have dogs.
I've lost everything.
You can leave your intestines around, and the dogs aren't going to chew them.
Ooh, yeah, like sausage links.
Good point. I could just fling it over my shoulder, and lift up the sofa.
Let's hang low. Do they walk through?
There you go.
Can you tie him in a knot? Can you tie him in a bow? But like you were saying, in the frenzy, one of the soldiers was attacked and killed trying to extract one of the surviving participants. The supposed cause of death is that he had essentially had his throat ripped out and bled to death, just like you were saying. Another was said to have his testicles ripped off while also having an artery severed by the assailant's teeth.
Yeah.
So 5 soldiers were said to have committed suicide in the following weeks as a result of what they had witnessed in the chamber. The remainder of the participants that had made it out finally able to be heavily restrained and taken outside the facility. The 2 men, of which still had use of their voices, vigorously requested more of the specialized aerosol and demanded to be kept awake. The man, who was in the worst physical shape, was rushed into surgery to put his innards back in place, and this is a quote from the attempt. Quote, "He managed to tear most of the way through the 4-inch wide leather strap on one wrist, even though the weight of a 200-pound soldier holding that wrist. It took only a little more anesthetic than normal to put him under, and the instant his eyelids fluttered and closed, his heart stopped." End quote.
Wow.
Yeah. After the failed surgery, the body was autopsied with the following results. Remember the oxygen analysis that we talked about in the chamber, like previously? This man had 3 times the amount of oxygen in his blood than the average human. He had broken 9 bones caused by the retrieval and the fight that he started in that process. And it is believed that the bones were broken by actual force of the muscles. So the muscles were pulling so hard that it broke his bones.
Jeez.
The remaining muscles attached to his body were also noted as showing severe signs of shredding. It was like shredding. They were pulling so hard. So what do you guys think so far as like them getting it out and how difficult it is?
It's the fact that they put up a fight. They've literally got organs spilling out of them.
Yes.
They've sleep deprived. Muscles, like you say, are literally pulling their bones apart. They could have done with some protein more than anything, but if they're honestly fighting these guys off, protein. Yeah, they had their own, but it's just the amount that they're still able to put up a fight. If you've not slept for a couple of days and someone tries to fight, you're just going to go, you know what, just hit me. Just have over and done with it, because you might just knock me that much out that I'm going to go to sleep anyway. Even if I wake up first thing in the morning and anyone tries to fight me, it's like, I'm not doing it.
Oh, me, that's when I am fighting. I'm like, bitch, you better not come in here and wake my ass up. You're prepared to fight. There's only two reasons you wake me up. One is food and the other one is hanky-panky.
See, that's why when me and Omer used to live together, I would wake him up with a coffee. Just,
see?
Morning, mate. There you go.
Peace offering.
Yeah. It's usually funny when he's been on a bender the night before and he's absolutely hammered, and I won't go in and go, here's your coffee, mate. Let me tell you what you did when you got home, because there is vomit all up the stairs.
Oh, no. Oh,
Glenn was both a blessing and a curse, because for one, I drank a lot. For two, I'd come home and there'd be a coffee and a burger just on my bedside table, and I wouldn't know if I bought them or he bought them.
Either way, it's a win. Man, I need a roommate like that. Be like, here's a burger and a coffee. Like, my boyfriend, oh my God, bless his heart. Like, when he comes over in the mornings, because again, I work nights. So when I'm getting off work, he's getting up. So he would just come over with like a breakfast burrito and a coffee, and I'm like, you are it. Like, you are my person. Bring me food and coffee to be like, here, I know you're waking up and this is rough. So here's this. So then I would eat and stuff my belly and then pass out. So that's always good. Keep me fed, keep me happy. Oh, goodness. Speaking of,
someone's ready for bed.
I know. It's actually past my bedtime. After losing the first of the participants, the second was brought into the surgery room. And here's a description of what happened per one of my sources that are going to be listed in the description. It says, quote, his vocal cords destroyed. He was unable to beg or object to surgery, and he only reacted by shaking his head violently in disapproval when the anesthetic gas was brought near him. And then it says he shook his head yes when someone suggested reluctantly that they should try surgery without anesthetic, and did not react to the entire 6-hour procedure of replacing his abdominal organs and attempting to cover them with what remained of his skin. The surgeon presiding stated repeatedly that it should not be medically possible for a patient to still be alive. One terrified nurse assisting in the surgery stated that she had seen the patient's mouth curl into a smile several times whenever his eyes met hers. When the surgery ended, the subject looked at the surgeon and began to wheeze loudly, attempting to talk while struggling. Assuming this to be something of drastic importance, the surgeon had a pen and pad fetched so the patient could write his message down. And it was simple. Keep cutting. Isn't that gross?
This is some sadistic shit, this. I mean, he's smiling at the surgery, so the nurse is looking at him and he's like, this is great. Just keep this shit up. And then when they stop, he's gone, oh, they're finished. What? Keep cutting. Just cut something off. I don't care what it is. Cut something off.
With no anesthetic at all.
What he's been through in the room, if you go through sort of, one guy's dead, right? And the rest of them want to stay awake. If we assume the guy that died because he fell asleep, so the rest of them know that's what happens. That explains why none of them want to sleep. And then the cutting after they've already tried to put him under anesthetics would have been like a positive for him because it would keep him awake.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. That makes total sense. Kind of like the extreme version of me pulling my eyelashes out.
The guy that died before the rest of them actually fell asleep. And that's why the rest of them wouldn't. And that's why the cutting was keeping them awake.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Ugh. So it says, when the researchers questioned the men who remained alive and what had caused them to grotesquely maim themselves, they were only presented with one answer: I must remain awake. So there you go. That makes sense. The one guy goes out and they're all like, nope, we got to stay awake.
Once the men... sleep is death.
Well, and the thing too, though, is he could have died of anything. They don't. How would they know that he died? They died because he was asleep.
But they all managed to make the connection that sleep is what kills them.
But after just one death, they're strewing their guts and stuff all over the place, and they realize that sleep is what killed them.
Yeah, I don't think they're of sound mind if they're able to rip their own organs out.
The 5 guys in the room had more scientific knowledge than the guys outside the room.
What if the 6th man that showed up it warned them that if they fall asleep, they're toast?
You sleep, you die. Oh, God, no, I'm staying awake.
Yeah. With the previous guy, they said that his blood oxygen level was above normal.
Yes.
So they were all breathing more than a regular person would.
Which would explain why, because I think it was like, what did it say? Four times the
oxygen.
I think it was 4 times the limit, right?
Yeah.
If we have 5 or 4 people with 4 times the amount, that's a lot of oxygen. So they started doing all these surgeries to put these people back together, like Humpty Dumpty and this shit. And then once the men learned that the researchers were going to place them back in the chamber, they all instantly became cooperative. They were hooked up to EEG machines to monitor their brainwaves during their outbursts, and all but one of the prisoners passed as soon as their bodies gave in. They flatlined at the precise moment the EEG showed that the waves were indicating sleep. With 3 researchers left in the room, the commander gave the orders to close the door. This would leave 3 researchers trapped inside the chamber with what was left of the test subjects. When this order was given, one of the researchers panicked, pulled a gun, and shot the commander point blank, shouting, "I won't be locked in here with these things." The frenzied scientist turned to the last surviving prisoner and demanded to know what he was. Not who, but what he was. Oh, this is good. This is where it gets creepy as fuck. A grimacing smile formed on the man's mouth, and he answered, quote, "Have you forgotten so easily?" He asked. "We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be free at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralyze when you go to the nocturnal haven where we cannot tread." End quote. Yeah. It was then that the researcher aimed the weapon at the perceived creature's heart and fired. As the last potentially possessed prisoner faded out, he muttered, "So nearly free." Many believe the account was completely fabricated, but what do you think? Conspiracy or crap? I know that gets real deep real fast.
I don't know, because we have done some weird episodes on our show as well. And we've had ones where we've had weird sayings, where we've seen things that are read things that shouldn't have existed but sounded more realistic. And I'm the one who's always open to these sort of things. Omer's a skeptic on our show. Omer is always got to question it sometimes, depending on what it is. If it's aliens, he's well and truly on it. But like something that seems to have summoned a demon of some sort. So this is basically your sleep paralysis demon in true form. Okay, let's put it that way. This is a sleep paralysis demon. He's come to he's finally made it through. He's now got some sort of living thing. Me, I like it. I believe it. I truly think this world is crazy. It can't just be the very mundane everyday that we always have. There has got to be something weird, supernatural in this world as well. That's the reason that it's there. That's the reason that all these stories are here. So for me, I well and truly believe that this thing, as before it's died, has said this.
Yes.
looking, like I say, I've got the image of what it was supposed to be, and that shit is terrifying. Yeah, that shit is now burned into my eyes. That when I shut my eyes, that is what I'm going to see. I joke with my other half about her sleep paralysis demon, and we've mentioned it on our episodes. He's called Ron. He's one employee of the month. I even got AI to create me an image of Ron, the sleep paralysis demon, holding his employee of the month sign up. And she jokes that at the moment she can't sleep very well at the moment, and she's like, Ron is tickling my toes. He's there at night. And I'm like, yeah, he sits at the bottom of the bed going, this little piggy goes to market. This little piggy stays at home. And it terrifies her. Seeing that's now my sleep paralysis demon, and I don't get sleep paralysis. So this is going to be a new experience for me tonight when I go to sleep.
You're welcome.
I well and truly believe it. I well and truly believe this thing has said this. And I've mentioned that there are veils between worlds on our episodes.
Oh, yes.
That I believe that there is something on the other side of this veil that is trying to come through or has got through every now and then. And that's why we see ghosts. That's why we see these things. This is the nearest possible thing that we've got to a demon coming through. I well and truly believe it. And I ain't going to sleep tonight. Because this thing is going to get me.
Now, I 100% believe that. And what's weird, too, is none of the victims here mentioned seeing anything. None of them mentioned a spirit or a monster or none of them. But I do like the thought that what if it's a tulpa or something? This gas is getting in here, and what if it's like a mass hallucination? But to me, how would you have so many people visualizing the same thing? And I'm already reading Omer's mind here. I don't know if I believe it, because I don't see how you could survive with your innards being outwards and these these chunks of your skin being gone without bleeding everywhere. I'm pretty sure at some point Omer's going to touch on that. And that's where I draw the line, where it's like, maybe not, because how would this be physically possible to survive with your guts all over the floor?
He's gone. He just doesn't know what to say now.
Got a few things, because believability wise, in terms of what he said at the end, I interpreted it differently in terms of it's not there is another entity or another being or another creature. It's we all have whatever that creature was inside us, and we're just suppressing it by sleeping. So if you don't sleep, we would all turn into that. It's not that it was possessed, it's it was in everyone all the time. It's a statement of the horrors within humanity.
I do like that. I like that theory. You're right. It didn't say that it's we are what you're running from all the time. And I tell people all the time that I have an inner demon. And that makes sense, because it is like and she does slip out occasionally. Like I've been known to, in my manic phases, black out time, where I'm functioning, I'm running around as a person, but I've had people tell me that like they could literally look at me and they know that I'm not me.
Yeah, my other half gets like that sometimes, is that she'll just sort of on autopilot, but your whole brain is shut down.
Yeah.
And it's just, your body's going through the motions, but you're not there.
And maybe
you look at them and you like a glazed look, and you just, wow, you are not there.
And maybe that's what dreams are. Like Omer's kind of insinuating with it's all inside all of us and we suppress it. Maybe when we sleep, that subconscious part of your brain that like still dreams and does all of that, maybe that is the demon inside of you living. It's getting its time, and then when it sleeps, we're awake.
No time out, hence it takes over and becomes whatever these people became.
Yeah, so it's not allowed its time, so it's gonna take its full time.
Yeah, it's like you've deprived it for 15 days. It takes 15 days for it to come out. So maybe if they lived for another 15 days, maybe the sleep was meant to be sleep for 15 days, but they registered as dead because of how mutilated they were.
True. What I thought was
if they were fully healthy bodies and then went to sleep, maybe they would have survived.
That makes sense. What creeped me out the most was the one guy who he was dead, like brain dead, but his heart was still pumping so much that it filled his vascular system with more air than blood.
Yeah.
Like the part that they were still functioning after death gets me.
That's like saying when they chop your head off, your head's still alive for so many seconds,
yes.
sort of thing. But your whole body shutting down and your heart still going. That's pretty crazy. For a parent who's had a child who's had to go through open heart surgery, knowing that they had to keep his heart pumping while he was asleep, that is today's medical sort of technology. We know we can do that.
Yeah.
Back in 1940, when you're dead and your heart's still going, that's insane.
Yes.
Guys, whatever was in that gas concoction is probably what they put in Red Bull now, just to keep you going.
Yeah.
I mean, when I drink like an energy drink or something, I'm not meant to with high blood pressure, but you can feel your heart going boom, 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 boom.
Oh yeah, same.
Even when you're chilling for a bit and you're like, yeah, that's not right. I'm having heart palpitations.
Yeah,
this should not be happening.
I 100%, I get that too. And that's my thing is when they hooked him up to that EEG machine, and the moment that their brain showed that they were sleeping, they all died. Like the moment it showed there was a wave of sleep, they died. And what if whatever they're pumping into the ventilation system somehow chemically thin that veil so that something could get across?
Yeah. See, that's
theory.
Yeah, that's my thinking on that one.
Omer looks like he's looking at us like we're idiots.
Omer knows
man more than any supernatural thing.
But you know what I'm like with this veil thing.
Me about all of it, because the one thing that sort of them surviving, I can sort of suspension of disbelief and be like, okay, they were in the room and it was hermetically sealed, so nothing really got infected, but there's shit on the wall, so there is infectious stuff because they've left feces over the place. Look at the Black Plague. They should have died earlier. So I've got to give that one a pass. But then they get pulled out of the room, which means the hallway and the thingy had to be hermetically sealed, wherever the surgery room was, and they stayed alive. And then they've clearly pulled chunk of meats off, so they've lost muscle tissue. But their strength outmatched a healthy soldier.
Yeah. But
with a lack of muscle tissue.
But there have been people that are strung out on drugs that can run through a taser or get shot and still run at you. Like it's like their brain. They still had
muscle tissue to do so. The way your strength work is based on the muscle tissue holding everything together.
But this doesn't say that it was missing all of it, just some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which
the muscles were stretched so much that obviously when you think about it, what do you do when you go to the gym? You're stretching your muscles and you break them. When you're doing weights and things like that, you're breaking the muscle and then the protein repairs that and makes it stronger. So obviously their muscles are so stretched, and as we joked, they're eating the protein because they're eating themselves. So they're getting that protein in. It is repairing the muscle in a way. So you can understand why they've got like this strength. They're just a lot stronger.
You can't repair what's not there, and some of them, as mentioned, had the breast tissue gone, so all the pectoral muscles aren't there.
This is like through the rib cage. It could have been the side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Technically. Because everything that was holding their heart and lungs and all that in was still there. But I'm kind of like that too, is how could it physically be possible if they're missing all this stuff? But if they responded like normal people, this wouldn't be a story to start with.
The science breaks down when there's not the correct things there. No, that's the only thing.
How many things happen that shouldn't be scientifically possible?
That's what I'm saying. So if I'm forgiving one, I've got to go the whole hog.
You gotta go hog wild.
So the fact that an experiment existed with sleep being tested, I fully believe that Russia's not the only one that attempted it.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee you every government have probably tried it. There's like actual studies from other people to test what happens with a lack of sleep. I'm sure the one that you mentioned earlier was one that was actually peer tested. The one was like a week, is the maximum. There may be somebody who's been awake longer, but no human that I can think of has died from sleeping or lack of sleep. There have been rats, though. I know that one's true.
Yeah.
So rats have been left awake for 2 weeks and then they died. But
there are actual stories. Think about it. Like when there's a kid under a car or something, and like the parent has been able to lift the car.
Yeah, through the adrenaline rush and things like that.
Yes.
There's been stories where they've full on lifted it. You know yourself, if anything, you as a mother, by the way, and obviously say anyone gets anywhere near the kids, yeah, exactly. I well and truly, when, like I say, I've mentioned it on our episode as well, and as I just said there, my little boy, when he was only like a few weeks old, he went in for open heart surgery. I made sure that I looked at every one of those doctors because I thought if anything happens to him, I'm coming for this like full rage of strength. Yes. I'm like, I am going to take you all down if I have to.
Yeah.
You make sure my boy comes back alive. I get that, and they had nothing. In fact, talking of him, he has just woken up. I can just see him on the camera. He was having a bit of a nap. Yeah, he's like, you talking about me? But yeah, it's one of those ones. That's that strength that come over of pure adrenaline. I don't care if you got muscles or not. You're gonna do it.
And there's this thing with bath salts where they were like, people were doing these bath salts and they were literally like eating. They were taking chunks off of people. Yeah. And like mowing down on them. And I'm like, that's very similar to the Russian sleep experiment. What if whatever chemical they were pumping in there is what is now bath salts or some variation of it?
Yeah. I mean, there was a story a few years ago, I can't remember where it was, that he was like literally running through a field or something and they tasered him and he still kept going.
Yeah.
And I think they shot him as well and he still kept going. It's just, what kind of bath salts are you using? Yeah. This is crazy.
Yeah, I agree. What's your thoughts on the bath salts and people eating people on bath salts and the correlation, Omer?
The bath salt thing, that one's one that we've all like seen. It's a known thing. You can actually see the video. I think it's still up on Reddit somewhere with the guy that went crazy on the bath salts. So
yes,
that one's still, because we know that, and like the adrenaline rush like a mother would go through, or like when to save somebody, makes sense with an actual fully composed body. And that's where my brain can't put in a decomposed body. Makes the same equation.
But yeah, that's my thing though, is there's been accounts where people have done physically some things that don't make sense.
Lack of sleep, that's what it was.
What if whatever that stuff is that was getting pumped in created that a proverbial like sixth man or whatever, or something across the veil came over and was explaining to them what would happen to them if they fell asleep. For me, it was such a fight. And then the moment they told them they were going to put them back in the chamber, they all started cooperating.
They wanted to go back. They generally
wanted back in.
Whatever had happened to them, whatever had happened, we're talking just how their bodies are looking and what they've done to the body. We're not talking what's happened to them mentally.
Yeah.
We have no idea what was going through their brain, okay? The fact that they were so terrified of going to sleep because they thought either something's going to happen, we know somebody's died, Bob on the floor's dead because he was eating him, but how did he die? Did he fall asleep? And that's how he died, and that's how they started taking chunks out of him? We don't know.
Well, when did they eat him? Did they start eating him before he was dead?
Was he just like, yeah, boys, have a bit of this?
What if they all went Wendigo?
Yeah.
I was just talking about this on the other podcast last night. Was going Wendigo and eating people and all of that stuff. But definitely there was some psychosis going on.
So something's happened to them.
But over 15 days, I feel like that's not a lot of time to be so drastically affected across the board. Maybe if there's like a couple people, maybe they were a little mentally unstable to start with, and then they cracked. But for all 5 of these men to crack at the same time, and that just, to me, there's something else going on there.
Yeah. As well, because they are political prisoners, we don't know what was done to them beforehand. What made this experiment sound so more appetizing to them? Don't sleep for 30 days or stay where you are now. So they've gone through.
Is there really a choice?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, they had a choice, didn't they? Yeah, did they have a choice? We don't know. But they were offered this option. 30 days and then you can go free.
Yeah, but 30 days was the option if... So you're a political prisoner, you're in whatever cell they put you in with crappy food anyway, and you're being offered a cleaner cell, and you actually get to talk to 4 other people. You can imagine like quite a few people saying yes to it, not knowing the consequences.
Especially because they probably were being subject to more physical torture as a prisoner, whereas this one was, okay, you're not physically going to be hurt, but we're going to test your psychological stamina. I can see a lot of people some people can handle, like me, I can handle physical pain a lot more than I can handle anything psychological. Like, I've got an excruciatingly high pain tolerance.
I'm hoping I do. I'm going for like a really big tattoo in a couple of days, and I've not had one since I've had... Yeah, the last one I had done was my chest, and I felt like he was torturing me and he wanted information. I don't know what he wanted, but I wanted to give it him.
Poo nanner. So
when he got done. Yeah, that's what I'm having done. I'm having all hair done. But when it's like when he got
done.
Oh yeah, no. It's when he got near my nipple, and I was like, "Hang on a minute. What information do you want? Because I'll give it you. Okay, please don't hurt me."
And my side, when I got my side tattooed, I got it all done at once, like my whole side from like armpit all the way down to my hip bone. And then I had it redone because the first time it didn't look very good. So I went to another artist and had the whole thing redone and like added pieces to it. That was a haul. That was definitely a haul.
It sounds it. I can handle some pain, don't get me wrong. To an extent.
And to Omer's, I have ruptured internal organs and walked around with them for 4 days before I went into the hospital and had surgery.
Wow.
We didn't realize they were ruptured until the 4th day, and you're only supposed to bleed internally for 3 days before you bleed to death. Oh. And I'm still here after doing that twice.
That's the lack of sleep.
Doubled it up.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. It's the lack of sleep kept me up.
There you go.
And I had a surgery, and whenever I would fall asleep, I would flatline.
There you go. We've just found it. There, sleep is the cause of everything. It is the problem. There you go.
Sleep equals death.
Yeah.
You want superhuman powers? Stay awake.
Yes. If you want to be Mr. Marvel or whatever, just stay awake. But my thing too is, so they are so freaked out by these people that they put them in this room again, and then there's still 3 researchers in the room, and they're like, "Fuck it, close the door." And the researchers, there's 2 researchers or 3 researchers and a military person or whatever, and they're like, "Fuck it!" And they start just gunning people because they're like, "You are not closing me in this room with these people." They refer to them as things. These things.
It's the fact that they wanted to carry on the experiment after they've put them back together. It's like, put them back in, carry on.
At that point, you totally just botched
came out of the room wanted back in.
I'd take my losses at this point. I'd just gone, all right, it didn't work. It did work. It did something. We can use it as torture. You can use it as torture to get information out of people, but
it wouldn't even be valuable information at that point.
No, they were just chatting gibberish, weren't they?
Yeah. I just don't understand why they put them back in the room, because at that point, the experiment has gone so far awry that any data you would have up at that point afterwards, it would be useless. You know what I mean? They're already out. You've already chopped them open. I guess you chop them open. You put them back together.
Frankenstein them and put them back in.
To me, I don't feel like there'd be a lot of, I guess, verifiable or useful data after that point. Because if your thought process is to keep them up for 30 days in a certain environment, you already pulled them out of the environment. And can you imagine being this researcher that opens this door in all his bodies and innards, his outards, and it's just all,
it's got to be not a pretty sight to open the door to.
And how long did the guy die?
Yeah.
Because that could be a serious stank after so many days.
Where's subject number 4? Pretty much everywhere.
And the question is, they never mention race or anything of these people.
Going
off. So how did?
There you go. There's my spirit ball going off. They like that.
That's
one.
Bob. That's Bob. He's back. He knows that we're talking about him dying, and he's popped up.
That's awesome.
Special guest number 3.
I know, right?
Special guest number 3. No, so you had a body strewn around, mostly eaten. 4 other guys who'd pulled their own eaten or dismantled parts of themselves. So you had different body parts around the place. But then they stitched people back together. How were they certain that they stitched the same person to the same person?
Okay, so they used
talking
what
1940s
skin was left.
Here.
Okay, but there's already skin. They said they used the skin that was left, so they can stretch it and put it back together. And you got to think, when they say it's strewn along, there's still part of it
still hanging out of
inside the person.
Yeah.
You just follow the trail.
Yeah, it's not like they've picked up random organs off the floor and gone, that looks like it belongs to him, and that might be his. They've literally taken the bits that they still had left and shoved it back in.
Yeah, it was like, imagine if you field dress something, you cut it and then just falls out. But you still know where it came from because it's all either around the thing or attached to it still. So I don't think thered be a lot of confusion. And really it wasn't like strewn about. I mean, you had the people whose like guts were spilled out. But the other guy was just like laying there and there was like the chunks in the drain. And then they like get eaten their own fingertips and shit like that, which is really gross in general. But I feel like they would be close enough to each other that you would be able to tell what pieces belong to what person.
Yeah.
But I just can't even fathom being the person to open that door and see that. And then not only you see that, but then they start responding.
To get you first.
Yeah.
Right?
And
you're opening that door, not only have you got the sight, you've got the smell, then you're hearing stuff.
Yeah.
It's like you say, there's feces on the wall where they've stuck things to the wall.
Yeah.
There's this dead body, there's water, there's blood, there's organs spewing everywhere. It must have been like walking to Charlie Sheen's house after he's had like one of these big sessions or something. Just, you don't know what's going on. Not anymore. The guy's sober, but still, back in the day, you would have been like, wow.
Yeah, this is a party. As a person who used to work at a funeral home and pick up bodies for a living, there's some serious stank attached, and it doesn't take very long. We had a gentleman that I took to the crematory. It was my first time ever taking somebody to the crematory, and that smell was horrendous.
I bet that doesn't leave you, does it? I bet that sticks around.
It definitely stains your nostrils, and it was so gross. So I'm just picturing. Also, too, is it cold in the room? Is it hot in the room? How much humidity is in the room? We don't get a whole lot of conditions other than it was hermetically sealed. And then they're pumping gas in it. So I'm assuming with the gas being pumped in, there's probably some level of humidity, which just makes it more disgusting.
It's not just that, like you said earlier as well, is that some of the guards that opened the door and went into the room all ended up committing suicide afterwards.
Yeah.
So it must have been horrific to think that what that looked like in there.
Yeah.
That must have been so much going on that it's going to have affected them mentally. They just can't focus anymore. They've been attacked. You just saw
his balls bit off.
I know, yeah. I mean, I'm all for a little bit of a playful sort of
Yeah, a little
gnash
nibble?
a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. Not full on ripped off and that's taking it too far.
They bit it off, but they also bit so hard into this dude's groin that they like severed an artery.
Yeah. That's some
And
chunk that.
you'd have to do it through the clothing too.
And they're soldiers, they're wearing proper uniform. Yeah. That's thick stuff. Even back then it was thick. It's Russia.
Thicker then.
Yeah, exactly. It's the material they're using, so it's crazy to think that this guy has literally just taken a chunk out of his leg, ripped off his testicles, and started juggling with them.
Yeah, and then the other one had his throat ripped out and bled to death.
Yeah.
Omer's awfully quiet up there. You got Omer.
That through the pants is enough for me.
He's reevaluating his life decisions at that point. You imagine the workers' comp claim on that one.
Have you had an accident at work that wasn't your fault?
Call.
Imagine having to go home and explain that as well.
Oh yeah. Sorry, babe. We can't have kids. I guess technically the other nut was still intact, so.
Yeah, one of them was still there.
Life will find a way. But yeah, so that's what I have to wrap up this one. It does seem pretty crazy, and I don't know. On one hand, it's believable because there's so much crazy stuff that people can do, but it does seem very far-fetched at the same time because of the extent. And maybe something had happened and it was embellished as more of a don't try this at home kind of situation.
Yeah.
As a disclaimer to everybody, maybe it was just to scare people into sleeping. There's all kinds of things, or the Russian experiments that happened back in the day as a whole generally are frowned upon. But then again, some of the stuff that you would think is so crazy and outlandish that it shouldn't have been a thing, there's photographic evidence that kind of alludes to the fact that it was all true, which then makes you question everything else. But do you guys have anything else to add?
I think at this point, no. It's going to take me a little while to get over this one.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Many episodes I'm able to, when we've recorded, just turn off and go to sleep. There's been one episode or two where we've talked ghosts, and because I sit downstairs by myself when I'm recording this, and I go out there into the front room and things like that, and the living room, and it's pitch black, and that's when I start to freak myself out. But this one, where you said there, could it just be a story to make you believe in sleep? This is one weird story to start telling your kids to get them to go to sleep. Look, if you don't go to sleep, you're going to turn into a demon. Right? Yeah. You're going to start ripping your skin off. You're going to eat your own ass. You're going to bite someone's testicles off. You're going to shit all up the walls. My kids will be like, what's the difference to any other day?
Yeah.
It does take a whole new meaning. It's a nice little story to tell your kids to go to sleep, but I'll stick with Karen Reid and Go the Fuck to Sleep to my kids. I'll read that one. Yeah.
Don't go to sleep or the Russians will get you.
Oh, yeah. I like that spin on it
sleep
too.
Or they'll find you.
Yeah.
They'll find you. But yeah, so that's what I have. So we can go ahead and wrap this out, or wrap this out. I am definitely tired.
You need some sleep.
I definitely do need some sleep. Hopefully I don't die in my sleep. But
no, please don't.
That'd be unfortunate. But don't forget, everybody, I know I forgot to do this last time, but don't forget to look them up. They're on all the social medias. Like, share, always give everybody love. Leave them some reviews, good ones. We don't do any of that half-ass bullshit. 5 stars all the way for all my guests. I appreciate that. But until next time, everybody, we'll see ya.
See you now.